Ladies and gentlemen, beings of vibration and vision, let me tell you something the textbooks don't teach, the news won't cover, and most people are too distracted to even notice. There's a language older than words, a voice that doesn't speak, but resonates. And the moment you truly speak it, the moment you whisper it with belief, with precision, with alignment, the shift begins. Alignment precedes manifestation. This truth is often overlooked, but it forms the bedrock of everything that materializes in our lives. We are energetic beings in an energetic universe, and what we experience externally is a mirror of what we are internally. Before anything shows up in the physical world, before the money, the relationship, the opportunity, the breakthrough, there must be alignment. Alignment is not a mood. It's not simply feeling good for a few minutes or having a burst of motivation. Alignment is a state of congruence where thought, emotion, belief, and action all flow in the same direction. It's the silent engine behind every visible success and every invisible block. You can want something with all your heart, speak affirmations, visualize day and night, yet still remain stuck. Why? Because part of you is misaligned. The wanting is there, but the belief isn't. The vision is clear, but your identity hasn't caught up. That gap between your current frequency and the frequency of your desire is the space where frustration, doubt, and delay live. You can't fake alignment. You can't hustle your way into alignment. You embody it. You become the person who naturally receives what you're asking for, and then it shows up, not as a miracle, but as a natural result. People often chase manifestation like it's a finish line they have to run toward. But manifestation is not the finish line. It's the reflection, and the reflection doesn't change until you change what's being projected. Alignment is about tuning your inner world to match the signal of what you desire. Think of it like a radio dial. You can't hear 98. 7 FM if you're tuned to 88.3. No matter how loudly you turn up the volume, you won't hear the music you're looking for unless you're on the right frequency. That's alignment, getting on the right station, the one where what you want is already playing. Most people are out of sync with their own desires. They ask for abundance but focus on lack. They want love but expect rejection. They dream big but prepare for failure. That's misalignment. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your frequency. And frequency is determined by what you consistently believe, feel, and expect, not what you occasionally hope for. When there's contradiction in your internal system, manifestation stalls. When there's unity, things move fast. Alignment collapses time because it removes resistance. The universe doesn't need time, it needs clarity. There's a reason the same people seem to magnetically attract what they want while others struggle. It's not luck, it's not chance, it's alignment. They are not more deserving, they are more attuned. They've calibrated their thoughts and emotions to match the outcomes they expect. They walk, speak, think, and behave as if it's already theirs. Not in pretense, but in principle. They don't chase, they don't beg, they align, and let the energy do the heavy lifting. They move through life like the outcome is inevitable, and the universe meets them at that level of certainty. Alignment is also honesty. You can't align with something you're secretly afraid of. You can't align with a version of success that your subconscious believes will cost you your peace, your relationships, or your identity. That's why inner work is non-negotiable. You have to excavate the hidden narratives, the buried doubts, the ancestral programming that's been running on autopilot. You have to ask yourself not just what you want, but whether you feel safe receiving it. whether you feel worthy of it, whether you trust yourself to hold it once it arrives, because alignment is not just about desire, it's about capacity. When you're aligned, you don't chase signs, the signs chase you. You don't constantly seek proof, you become the proof. Things begin to move because you've stopped contradicting your own signal. You're not putting out mixed messages into the quantum field. You're not saying yes in the morning and maybe by night. You're locked in, grounded, steady, and that consistency is magnetic. Manifestation isn't about sudden luck. It's about accumulated alignment. When you stack enough aligned thoughts, aligned feelings, and aligned actions moment by moment, day by day, you hit a tipping point, and what once seemed far away becomes your reality. True alignment doesn't always feel like fireworks. Sometimes it feels quiet, peaceful, like certainty without evidence. Like calm in the middle of uncertainty. That's the paradox. The more aligned you become, the less desperate you feel. The urgency dissolves, the pressure lifts, because you're no longer looking for a sign. You asterisk the signal. You walk into rooms differently. You speak from a different core. You don't have to prove anything, because your energy is already speaking volumes. People, opportunities, you are giving him permission to want, not because you force them to, but because you've shifted your gravitational pull. People confuse movement with alignment. Just because you're doing a lot doesn't mean you're aligned. Just because you're checking off goals doesn't mean you're in sync with your highest timeline. True alignment isn't about how much you're doing. It's about how congruent you are while doing it. You can be still and aligned and watch miracles unfold. You can be working hard and still be resisting your own path. That's why burnout exists. That's why people chase success and still feel empty when they get it. Because they built something from misalignment and then wonder why it doesn't fulfill them. Everything you're trying to build, attract, or experience start with alignment first. Alignment with your values. Alignment with your truth. Alignment with the energy of what you want to receive. Without that, you're climbing a ladder against the wrong wall. You're pouring energy into a timeline that doesn't match your soul's blueprint. But when you're aligned, even small steps produce big ripples. Even silence becomes powerful. Even rest becomes productive. You stop moving out of fear and start flowing out of resonance. You stop needing things to happen and start allowing them to unfold. Because alignment isn't passive. It's potent. It's the most efficient way to create. It's the non-negotiable foundation of all sustainable manifestation. Language programs reality. The words you speak are not just sound, they are frequency, intention, and structure. Every syllable carries data. Every sentence is an instruction to the subconscious. And every repeated phrase is an order to the universe. Language is not a tool we merely use to describe the world. It's a tool we use to shape it. What you say, especially what you say repeatedly, becomes the script that your mind, body, and environment begin to follow. You're not just talking, you're coding. You're not just expressing, you're architecting. Words are not neutral. They carry weight, they vibrate. They are seeds that either grow flowers or weeds in your mental and energetic soil. Every I can't, I never, I always mess this up becomes a loop that programs limitation. Every I am powerful, it's working out for me, I'm built for this, becomes a loop that opens portals. People think words are just communication devices, but they are activation devices. They either lock you into old timelines or open new ones. You are always speaking spells, whether you know it or not. Language is the interface between mind and matter. It is how thought becomes form. It bridges the internal with the external. What you consistently speak, you start to believe. What you believe, you begin to expect. What you expect, you unconsciously move toward. So it begins with words, but it ends in outcomes. The person who constantly says nothing ever works out for me is not just venting, they are reinforcing a pattern that creates evidence to prove themselves right. The pattern continues not because life is punishing them, but because they have unknowingly programmed their reality with that phrase. Repetition is ritual. When you repeat something often enough, it sinks beneath the surface of consciousness and becomes your automatic framework. It becomes the operating system beneath the thoughts, and the subconscious does not argue with repetition. It accepts it. It doesn't evaluate if the language is true or false, useful or harmful. It simply obeys. That's why your self-talk matters. That's why your jokes matter. That's why what you casually say when you're frustrated matters. Because you're always listening. Your subconscious is always recording. Every sarcastic "I'm broke," every careless "I'm just not good at this," every habitual "this is just my luck" gets stamped into the system. This is not about toxic positivity or pretending to be happy when you're not. It's about precision. Accuracy, consciousness. You don't have to lie to yourself, but you do have to be intentional. There's a difference between acknowledging a challenge and cementing it into your identity. Saying "I'm going through something" keeps space open. Saying "I always attract chaos" closes the loop and builds a prison. One is fluid, the other is final. One gives you power, the other steals it. That's the difference language makes. One sentence can be the lock. One sentence can be the key. When you understand that language programs reality, you begin to treat your words like sacred code. You start filtering what you say through a lens of creation. You stop indulging in conversations that rehearse the worst-case scenario. You catch yourself before you speak failure into your future. You start upgrading your vocabulary to match the life you want, not the one you fear. You align your language with the timeline you are calling in. You no longer speak as the version of you who's stuck. You speak as the version of you who's already arrived. People want transformation, but they won't change their language. They keep speaking the same defeat, the same delay, the same disappointment, and then wonder why nothing shifts. But the shift starts in the mouth. The voice is the wand. The tongue is the lever. And when it moves with intention, reality bends. But if you keep telling the same old story, you will keep living in its rerun. Transformation requires a new narrative. It requires disrupting the scripts that no longer serve your evolution and writing new ones with energy, with clarity, with power. You are not required to explain your old self. You are allowed to speak as your new self now, even if no one believes it yet, even if it feels unfamiliar, even if it contradicts your current circumstances. That's how programming works. You don't wait for external proof. You speak the internal code first, because the external proof is the asterisk result asterisk of the internal programming, not the other way around. Waiting for change before you change. Your language is like refusing to type a new command into a computer until the screen changes itself. The computer can't update what you haven't entered, neither can life. Language doesn't just program your reality. It filters what you notice, what you attract, what you allow. If you tell yourself you're unworthy, you'll reject anything that contradicts that belief. If you tell yourself you're unlucky, you'll ignore every opening and only focus on setbacks. Your brain deletes and distorts information based on the language you've installed in it. That's why changing your words changes what you perceive. It's not magic, it's neurology, it's frequency, it's energy, it's physics, and it's not just the words you say aloud. It's the silent conversations in your head. The internal dialogue on repeat when no one's around. That's the most powerful language of all, because that's the language that has no filter. That's the language your nervous system responds to. That's the language that becomes your posture, your tone, your decisions, your reality. You can post affirmations all day online, but if your inner dialogue is rooted in fear, doubt, and smallness, your reality will match that, not the quote you shared. Reprogramming your language doesn't mean forcing fake positivity. It means choosing words that move you forward. Words that hold space for expansion. Words that acknowledge the now but make room for the next. It's not about pretending your struggle isn't real. It's about refusing to let it become your identity. It's about giving more airtime to your power than your pain. It's about becoming fluent in the language of elevation. You start by observing. What do you say when you're tired, frustrated, uncertain? What words do you reach for automatically? Are they anchoring you or activating you? Are they bringing you back into a cycle or breaking you into a new one? You can't change what you don't notice, but once you become aware, you can interrupt, you can rewrite, you can reframe, you can replace limitation with expansion, fear with faith, confusion with clarity. One phrase at a time. The most powerful shifts are often invisible at first. A new sentence might not change your life overnight, but it begins to change the way you think, and the way you think shifts the way you act. The way you act shifts the way life responds. It's a chain reaction that always begins with intention, carried on language. You don't have to speak in perfect affirmations all day, but you do have to stop using your voice to reinforce the things you're trying to heal from. You do have to stop treating language like it's casual. It's not casual, it's causal. It causes outcomes. It codes identity. It builds frameworks. It defines possible. Once you understand that alignment precedes manifestation and language programs reality, something fundamental shifts inside you. The veil lifts, the game changes. You stop operating like a bystander in your own life and start stepping into the role of creator. You stop asking, when will things happen for me? And start declaring, I am the one who makes things happen. The moment you accept that your inner world shapes your outer experience, not the other way around, is the moment you begin to walk with a new kind of power. A silent, grounded, undeniable authority, one that doesn't shout but reverberates, one that doesn't beg but commands. You begin to realize that nothing outside of you ever held the keys. It was always you. And when you speak to the universe with that understanding, with that alignment and that intentional language, you unlock codes that were always available but previously inaccessible. You become magnetic, not because of effort, but because of congruence. People feel it. Doors sense it. Energy organizes itself around it. You're not chasing, you're drawing in. You're not performing, you're radiating. You're not forcing, you're flowing. The difference is not in what you do, but in who you are while doing it. That's the shift. That's what happens when you stop using language to describe your circumstances and start using it to design them. It's not about perfect thoughts or robotic affirmations. It's about conscious presence. It's about reclaiming authorship of the dialogue that runs your life. It's about realizing that your words are living blueprints that either reinforce your past or construct your future. Every I am is a declaration of identity. Every repeated phrase becomes an instruction to the field. Every thought spoken aloud is an energetic investment, and the universe pays attention to where you're putting your energy. It listens, it mirrors, it reflects, but only in proportion to your clarity. Clarity is a superpower. When your energy is scattered, when your words are contradictory, when your beliefs wobble between hope and doubt, the signals you send out are foggy. And in return, the manifestations you attract are incomplete, slow, or chaotic. But when you are clear, when your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions align, you become a direct channel. You become lightning in human form. The universe doesn't hesitate when you no longer hesitate. Reality bends when you become precise. This is why awareness is the foundation of transformation. If you don't know how you're speaking, you won't know what you're creating. If you don't notice the narratives you've adopted, you'll keep running programs that work against you. Most people are living on autopilot, repeating phrases their parents said, their teachers drilled in, society echoed, without ever stopping to ask, is this true for me? Is this how I want to speak to my life? Is this how I want to program my path forward? When you finally stop and evaluate the language running your life, you reclaim power you didn't even know you'd given away. And power is not loud. It's not about shouting affirmations over your fear. True power is the quiet, consistent choice to speak from a higher place, even when your reality hasn't caught up yet. Especially when your reality hasn't caught up. That's what initiates the shift. That's what moves timelines. That's what pulls the quantum into the physical. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop narrating the chaos and start scripting the order. You become the voice of direction in a universe that responds to confidence, not confusion, and that confidence is built, not faked. It's built in the unseen, in the daily repetitions, in the subtle choices, in the pauses where you choose a new thought, in the moments where you catch yourself about to reinforce lack and pivot into abundance instead. It's in the days you don't feel powerful, but speak like you are anyway. It's in the nights you're scared, but you say, this is working for me, because that's the language of someone who trusts the process. And every time you do that, you're shifting, you're lifting, you're climbing without even realizing it. The universe is not judging you. It's not punishing or rewarding. It's responding. It's reflecting. It's reading your energy, not your wishes. It's reading your intention, not your complaints. And your energy is communicated through alignment and language. That's why the shift doesn't start with a dramatic event. It starts with an inner calibration, with subtle upgrades, with a decision to no longer speak limitation, even when you feel it, to no longer narrate the version of you you're leaving behind, even if it's familiar, to speak the language of where you're going, not where you've been, because that language sends a signal to your brain, your body, your cells. It tells your nervous system, this is our new normal, this is what we're moving toward. And the moment your nervous system believes it, your behavior shifts. Your perception shifts, your tolerance shifts, your focus sharpens, and the universe has no choice but to organize reality around that internal certainty. Because reality is not solid, it's fluid, it bends, it listens, it mirrors. but only when the signal is strong enough to command its attention. So the question is not, can you manifest your vision? The question is, can you align with it and speak it until it manifests? Can you train your language to match the frequency of what you truly want, not what you're afraid of? Can you stop leaking power through self, deprecating humor, outdated stories, and casual curses disguised as jokes? Can you become so intentional with your words that every sentence becomes a brick in the foundation of your next level? This isn't about perfection. This is about precision. This is about commitment. This is about becoming fluent in the dialect of your destiny. And it doesn't require talent or privilege or permission. It requires awareness. It requires willingness. It requires the decision to show up differently in how you speak to yourself, your life, your future. Because once you do, once you talk to the universe correctly, not with desperation, but with direction, not with fear, but with frequency, not with doubt, but with alignment, the shift starts to happen. And once the shift starts, it doesn't stop. It compounds, it accelerates, it builds momentum. You start becoming the version of you used to dream about. You stop waiting for the signs and start becoming the signal. You stop asking for change and start embodying it. And everything around you begins to move because everything within you already did. This is how it begins. This is how it turns. This is how you rise. You are not here to beg the universe. You are here to collaborate with it, to speak with authority, to move with clarity, to align with purpose, because the shift isn't just coming. The shift is waiting on you.